Ask you a very personal question, Alan. If you don't want to answer it, feel free just to put the phone down. You don't even have to remark. But were you, as I feel, just from the very short conversation we've had, saying, well, I'm in disagreement with my parents, therefore my children will not meet them?
No.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, well...
Was it a disagreement over the children?
It was actually, yeah.
Fine.
Now then, you see, my eldest lad at the moment has got a hell of a lot of problems as regards his schooling. Since just before Christmas alone, he's been expelled, suspended, shall I say, from school 5 times. And I'm going back to court in Preston, as a matter of fact, a week on Friday.
I have got to stop you, Alan. The reason I've got to stop you is that it would not take a great deal of ingenuity to now identify you from the court list. I'm sorry, but it's for your own protection. You are no longer anonymous. I'll do Anthony. Anthony's gone. We'll be with Roy after the break.
Hello, Maureen.
It's Roy.
My apologies, it is Roy. I'll do Roy.
Hello.
Why am I saying it is? If you don't know, nobody does.
Well,
hello, Roy.
I think I know anyway. I'd just like to talk about the mindless minority, you know. That seems to be an awful lot of the mindless minority. You know, I live on Merseyside, and everywhere I go I'm confronted by the mindless minority. They tell me that popular opinion says that this is only a few people that swear and throw things around and vandalise things, but they seem to be everywhere I go.
You're obviously implying that it's not a minority,
yeah,
but in fact it's quite a large minority.
Well, I'd like to just make the point. In Southport, yesterday they had a lot of riots and people running around. They apparently had got a cheap fare from Liverpool for 18 pence. And so with the 18 pence, they saw fit to get to Southport and sort of wreck the place, you know. That's the situation, you know.
Well, you don't appear to be telling us anything, Roy.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that popular to the media on Merseyside is that everybody's friendly and happy and there's only these mindless people around. But
Roy, allow me to tell you that, as far as I'm aware, and it's not just from the media, on Merseyside it is. I've been to Merseyside thousands of times.
Yeah.
I've never been confronted by violence at all.
Yeah, well, I'm not sort of talking about physical violence, but I'm talking about foul language.
Well, foul language, to be fair to the Liverpudlian, foul language... What I would define as foul language is the language of the streets, and on those streets it is an acceptable phraseology. Obviously I don't permit it to be broadcast, but it's an accepted phraseology. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, my point about Southport bears me out. I mean, they give an 18p fare, for a cheap fare, to Southport from Liverpool, and that brings them in, and they start wrecking the place. I mean...
Well, yes, but that was a mindless minority. You're not suggesting that the majority of Liverpool travelled to Southport. They wouldn't fit in.
No, that's true.
So it was a minority.
Yeah, but...
Well, is it your intention, during the course of this conversation, to convince me that it's not a minority?
Yeah.
Well, you've already, in the last question, agreed that it was a minority. So you've failed in your objective. I'll do Alan.
Hello, Alan. There was a fella on earlier on about Four Feather Falls, and I must admit, you obviously remembered it with Tex Tucker and Callum McCooley.
But
what was the horse and the dog called?
I can never remember this. I'm asked about once every 6 months, and we find out, and then I can no longer remember.
Well, the horse was called Rocky, and the dog was called Pedro.
Knockout. Yes, it was. I'm reminded once again.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alan. You obviously had a very enchanting childhood.
Yeah.
And watched the same crap on the telly as I did. Tara!
Thanks very much.
How do Paul?
Why are you a prat?
I've no idea. Perhaps it's because the money's good. Why are you?
Thanks very much.
It would seem you don't know, thus proving our theory. Hello, Ian.
Michael Wakatani, Annie Kubiu, Tamitai, Tora, Picapa, Pikimungo, Oronok, Pikuina, Wakatana, Tahu, Matua, Tanahu, Kawa, Mikitora.
Thank you very much. How do, Ian?
Imad.
I'm sorry?
Imad.
Imad, my apologies.
Arabic. Yeah, I was wondering, what can I do about a shopkeeper who's constantly selling out-of-date products without displaying, saying that they are out of date?
Well, are you suggesting that they are not date marked?
No, they are date marked.
Then all you have to do is read them. So they are displaying that they are out of date. If it says sell by the 1st of January and you buy it on the 1st of April, it shouldn't take too much ingenuity to work out that it's out of date. That is a display. The date is upon them.
Yes, but I thought that the shopkeeper, if he does want to sell the out-of-date produce, that he has to write a little label underneath saying that this product is out of date.
Not as far as I'm aware.
Oh.
He merely has to, or the company merely has to have the date on it. In fact, I'm not sure that that's totally compulsory, but assuming it is, then he merely has to tell you the date of it, and he does that by putting it on it. I frequently buy products that are out of date, all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got a pint of milk, a pint of semi-skimmed from Marks and Spencer's in the fridge at the moment, dated sell by the 28th of this month, March.
Yeah.
Then it's perfectly okay.
Then I bought a flavoured milk, which was the skim milk, and it was 10 days old when I got it. So I took it back and told him. He said, well, you can have the rest if you want.
Seems like a fair offer to me. But Imad, next time you're buying some skimmed flavoured milk, I suggest you read the date and... I'm sorry?
Banana flavoured.
Banana flavoured. Well, there you are. What do you expect from someone that drinks banana flavoured milk? But Imad, all I can say is it must taste terrible in coffee. But never mind. Next time you're buying milk, whatever flavour, and you look at it and it says out of date 10 days ago, perhaps you won't buy it.
Probably.
Quite sensible. How do, Bob?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to talk about the present government's attitude towards the health service, please.
Let us hear it.
Well, I keep reading in the papers that the government are putting more money than any previous government into the health service, and yet I'm a health service worker. All I've seen is cutbacks in every...
the implication of that statement, Bob, is that the government is not putting more money into the health service than any previous government.
Yeah, the reason I was so careful is because I can't prove that they're not, but all the evidence points to the fact that they're not putting...
all the on-the-ground evidence may, to your interpretation, do that, but the fact is that the numbers add up to a greater number than earlier governments, previous governments' numbers added up to. There are more people employed in the health service now than were employed in the health service ever before.
No, that is actually incorrect, Alan. I can't speak as some authority on that. That is incorrect.
Would you like to explain yourself?
Since I'm only talking about my health authority, I can't speak about anything else.
Well, I'm sorry, you cannot talk about the government's position and then say one health authority representative of the government. The government statistics... Well, just a second.
Go on then.
The government statistics state clearly that there are more people employed in the health service now than ever before. Those are the government statistics. Now, the distribution of those throughout the country, I would not want to swear to, but those are the government statistics. If you wish to challenge government policy, you must do it at government level. You cannot challenge government policy at regional level.
And yet there's so many cutbacks, and no one can deny that there are wards closing, there's equipment that's needed that's not being replaced.
I don't think anyone would deny it, Bob, but... Unless you offer some kind of argument against the figures quoted, in paraphrase rather than in numbers...
Well, I mean, hardly... It's not going to improve the health service by employing so many people more. I mean, the health service is now worse than it's been for a long, long time. Certainly in my life.
Well, it depends on what you mean. I for one, believe...
Waiting lists, I'm talking about in particular.
Indeed, the waiting lists do continue to grow.
Yeah.
But... if we do not have doctors to perform operations, then the waiting list will grow still further. So your suggestion that employing more people is not a solution seems to me to be ludicrous.
You told me that there's more people now than
No, I've merely quoted the government.
The government. Well, the evidence is that the service is less than it's ever been in the past. So these people who are being employed are not making the service more efficient. If this is true, which I dispute, and I'm sure you, having worked in the health service as well, find hard to believe.
I do not find the statistics hard to believe, not at all.
20% less nurses now than there were in 1975.
Yes, but there are still more people. There are still more people working in the health service.
What job are they doing?
An awful lot of them are working in the administration side. Now, it is inevitable these days that if you appoint one administrator, he will explain to you why he needs another 10. That is the role of an administrator, to build himself or herself an empire, which is why I think they're a pain in the bum. However, the truth is there to be seen. The statistics show that more people are employed in the health service. Now, to say that wards are closing down, of course they are. I detect a hint, just a soupçon of the old Scouse in your voice.
Well, not Scouse as such, but Merseyside, yeah.
It's certainly Merseyside. Well, on Merseyside, of course, you've lost. Was it St Paul's? No, not St Paul's. That's still there.
Well, that's the other side.
John
of the
Bagot.
Okay,
but well, I only know of Liverpool, but you lost John Bagot. You've lost 3 or 4 hospitals.
Well, I worked at a large hospital, which is a showpiece hospital, opened in 1981.
And which one is that?
Arrow Park.
Arrow Park, yes, it's quite a big one. Yeah.
And they've shut 6 wards, and it's only been open 4.5 years.
Fine, but what you have to do surely is count the beds available in that region. Now, I don't know what region you're in. Does that come under Merseyside?
Wirral.
There you are, I don't know.
Mersey region, but Wirral area health.
Yes. Well, how many beds are there compared to, say, 5 years ago?
Less, because the only other hospital on the Wirral is Clatterbridge, and they too have had 4 wards shut.
But, of course, do you have patients travelling from the Wirral to, for example, the teaching hospital in Liverpool, which created millions?
Specialised diseases.
Over the year, millions of beds.
Another specialised hospital they go to. But we also have, Clatterbridge is the radiotherapy centre.
Yes.
For the whole of the North West. And,
well, it's not for the whole of the North West anymore, is it? There is.
Well, it's North Wales, Manchester is included.
But they also have one in Manchester, do they?
I don't know. We do get Manchester patients.
Yeah, but there are different types, you say.
Yeah, maybe so. And psychiatry as well for North Wales. It's the centre for North Wales.
Well, you will be crowded then.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Anyway, the government statistics don't bear out what you say in terms of numbers, but yes, the government's dealings with the health service are suspect.
I feel it could be improved if we shot all the coons.
I see. That's it, is it?
Yep.
You're a fart. How do, Paul?
There's a person that I know who comes on Red Rose Radio, where they have guys who think they're dread, like Allan Beswick, who's a dickhead.
Yes, I know, Paul. How do... Who? I've forgotten, I'm sorry. Peter.
You're dead fat.
Yes, Peter. An intellectual midget, it seems. Hello to somebody else. Vivian.
Got myself a crying, talking, living.
Thought your name was Cliff. Hello, Wendy.
Hello, Alan. I've got a bit of an insurance problem. I wonder if you can help me with it.
No idea. Let us see.
About a month ago, I went to a local cash and carry and parked my vehicle in the car park. And when I came out, one of the battery-operated forklift truck type things had run in the side of it. We went with the driver to see the manager, reported it to him, and then I went away to the insurance brokers and reported the claim. Now, when they came to details of the third-party insurers...
Go on. Don't listen to your radio, which shouldn't be on anyway. Carry on.
They said those vehicles didn't need to be insured because they weren't driven on the road.
Yes.
Now, is it because when my vehicle's parked in their car park, can I not ask them, for the details?
What do you mean? Can you not ask them for the... Well, they haven't got insurance of that type.
Well, they should have some insurance to cover that particular type of thing.
Who says?
Well, they're liable for it because the driver drove into the vehicle.
They may well be liable. We're not debating whether they're liable. We're debating whether they are required to insure against that liability.
Well, are they not supposed to do that for law purposes or not?
Well, no, they're not on the roads. Are you insured if you fall over in your garden? Have you got a legal requirement?
Not really, no.
If somebody puts his motorcycle in your garden and you push it over, do you expect him to claim off your policy?
No.
No. So why do you...
Well, they should have some type of insurance covering for this.
Well, whether they should or shouldn't is a different matter. I would suggest that yes, they should, but whether they are legally required to is the issue, and no, they are not. It is private land.
So have I no claim against that particular party then?
Well, the problem is that you may have a claim, but not an insurance claim. You may have a claim against the driver for his negligence in driving into your motor vehicle. However, you probably have not got a claim against the supermarket because they will have a sign somewhere
got a sign.
that says what?
They haven't got a sign that says... That
You know for sure?
Yes, I've had a look round. I've been back twice.
So there is no sign
There's no
saying...
sign saying that they won't be held responsible for any damage done to anything while it's parked.
Right. Now what you've got to establish, before you can claim off the company... That's the shop, if you like. You will have to establish, to convince a court, that that company had a responsibility of care over your motor vehicle.
Right.
Now, you may have difficulty with that. It might be easier to bring a private claim against the driver of the forklift truck for his negligence.
Yeah, I've been through that with a small claims court, but if they say the damage to the vehicle isn't worth going through it. Or
How much is the damage to the vehicle?
The estimate was £430.
You say that it's not worth going through with?
I went to the county court. It was the local county court, and they said it's not worth it.
The county court is talking crap, if that's what they said. Are you not sure what they said was you would be better off doing it through the full court rather than the small claims?
Oh, that's not how I understood it, no.
Well, it seems to me that you're being told by the county court that it is not worth pursuing will not have anything to do with the cost you're claiming, the amount you're claiming. It may have something to do with the value of your claim, with the likelihood of success. What I suggest you do, Wendy, for that amount of money, is go to your nearest solicitor's office and discuss it with the solicitor, because it is possible, but not all that sensible, to bring a case in the small claims court for an amount of money in excess of £400.
Right.
You might as well engage the services of a solicitor for that. Now, your first consultation with the solicitor may well cost you as little as £10, just for a consultation to see whether it is worth pursuing your claim. And if he says it isn't, then learn by your experience. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
I wish you luck.
Bye.
Ta-ra. How do, Dave?
I want to talk about Bolton Wanderers, please.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I have the impression that Bolton Wanderers is a football team.
Yeah.
Well, we don't talk about football on this programme. We have a penchant, a desire, not to bore the teeth out of our listeners, and talking about football will bore the teeth out of anybody. On line 7, we have Glyn. Sorry, on line 8, I presume. Glyn. Never mind, we've got Robbie instead.
Hello, Alan.
Why aren't you in bed, child? How do, Clive?
I'm talking about the responsibility of the media to the ordinary people.
I can't hear you talking about it. Clive? Oh, God. Clive, you're listening on your radio. You will hear me in a moment say... Drop dead. Don't listen on your radio. Ring back after the news. It's very nearly midnight. Time for us to wander down the electronic pathway to London.
The 12 o'clock news, this is Greg Strange. Loyalist gangs have gone on the rampage in a fresh outbreak of violence in Northern Ireland.
Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the late night show.
And the number, of course, is Preston 561000.
24 hours a day, Red Rose Radio.
Now then, How do, Paul?
All right, Alan. There's these two pieces of sick walking down the road, and one of them's crying.
I don't want to know this. I'm sorry. No, I don't wish to know it. Hello, Gordon.
Well, Alan? Yeah, I think that when a person has a heavy sentence, such like life, he should also be given the choice of being hung.
Why?
Well, it'd be a burden, wouldn't it, to be kept up in prison all your life, so the easy way out is to be hung.
Are you suggesting that what we ought to do is to let people pick easier sentences?
No.
You are.
I don't think I am.
Well, Gordon, correct me if I'm wrong, but a few seconds ago you said it would be a burden to be kept up in prison all your life, so it might be an easier way out.
Yeah, that'd be for the
Easier way? Yes. So what I said to you was, do you think we should adopt a policy which has the prisoner choosing the easier sentence?
But life isn't an easier sentence.
Well, why did you say it might be? You did say that.
Did I?
Of course you did. You said being locked up in prison for life, it might be an easier way out to be hung. That was what you said. So the prisoner is picking an easier way out. Is that what you want, or would you prefer to punish them?
Well, either way is being
That's like saying, well, yes, either way is, but we punish them, one would hope, in an adequate way. Now, you seem to be saying that what we ought to do is to give them an easy option.
Yeah.
What is the point of that? It's rather like saying, do you want 24.5 years, or do you want a fortnight in Benidorm? And he says, well, actually, Your Honour, fortnight in Benidorm was to me. So I said, OK, off you go. He's picked an easier way out. Now, OK, that's an exaggerated view of what you're suggesting, but you are suggesting that we say to the prisoner, which do you want, lad? OK? Which do you want? Which is the easiest for you? We don't mind, we're not fussy us. OK, you want the easy one. Smart, OK. All right, off you go. Give them the easy one, lads. Don't be silly, Gordon.
Not being silly.
You are. You're suggesting that prisoners should have a choice of sentences.
Yeah, but...
Well, we can't have that, can we?
I would think that...
Well, I don't care what you would think. You're not the accused.
All right, then.
Ta-da. How do, Jamie?
Hello, Al.
Hello.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men
Add egg butts. What's he again?
hold on, Al. They drove with in Porsches and took him out for a beverage in the pub.
No, that's
You
fair.
fat fuck.
How do... I've forgotten who you said. Philip, yes. Hello, Philip.
Hello, not bad.
Hello, Philip. How do, Mark?
Hello, Alan. Right, I reckon you're a hypocrite, Alan.
I am a hypocrite, of course I am.
Yeah, because, right, you condemn swearing, or at least have been led to believe that you condemn swearing.
Where have you got that from? Who has led you to believe this, Mark?
A bit earlier on, you see, you were talking to a bloke about swearing, weren't you?
Well, if you're asking me, then you haven't answered my question. My question, Mark, was fairly straightforward. Where have you got the idea from that I condemn swearing?
Well, that was it. That from that bloke on earlier.
The bloke that you don't know whether I was talking to or not?
Well, I reckon you were talking to him, but...
Well, make your mind up. You asked me whether I was talking to a bloke earlier. You ask for information, presumably because you don't think you've got it. Now, would you like to tell me what I have said, Mark, that has convinced you that I condemn swearing, as you call it?
Well, like, you reckon that, you don't reckon swearing's alright, don't reckon it's, good, but it's out of your control to, it's out of your jurisdiction, as it were, to control it.
Well, Mark, you seem to be lost for words. Allow me to tell you that I do not recall ever condemning swearing. I don't permit certain words on this programme.
Yeah.
But I've never said one shouldn't use them. Indeed, I was embroiled in a conversation with a chap not very long ago, saying that the language of the streets in Liverpool was, whilst unacceptable on the radio, is frequently very profane, and indeed is acceptable on those same streets.
Yeah, well, a few nights ago, you were talking to this bloke, and I reckon you got mad with him, and in the end, you used the word shite.
Yes, well, that is it. Well, you don't have to say it. The word was shite. It's a word that I have no objection to using.
Now, how come you won't let the people who come on your show
Mark, I decide what people are allowed to say.
Yeah, no.
Now, I have allowed that word in certain circumstances on this programme previously. Not only by me.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but what? That is a statement. Do you challenge it? Do you accept it?
I accept that.
Well, if you accept it, then I don't know where your confusion arises.
I just reckon you're a hypocrite because, I mean...
Well, if I'm a hypocrite, and I'm prepared to accept that I am, I don't think my policy on profanity on the radio is hypocritical, because I do not use any of the words on the radio that I will not permit others to use on the radio.
Well, I mean, what if...
What do you mean, well, what I mean?
If someone came on your show and said the word we were talking about...
The word we were talking... It would depend on the context.
Yeah.
The word has been used before, as you have already agreed, Mark.
Yeah, but I mean...
So to put the question as you were about to, would I allow the word to be used, the answer is possibly, but I would not, on principle, eliminate the word. So that isn't evidence of hypocrisy. Would you like to try again?
Yeah. The context you used was calling someone a name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now,
Would you
in
allow
certain circumstances, yes, and I did allow it in those circumstances previously.
Right. Okay.
It seems you're lost, Mark. I'll do Paul.
Very well.
Yes.
I was reading last week about a British investment in Nigerian industry, right? Right?
I don't answer the question right, for fairly obvious reasons. I don't know whether it's right or
anyway,
not.
I was wondering why the hell this country is investing money in another country when we have all people dying of hypothermia.
Well, first of all, when you say this country, investing it, do you mean it was a government investment, or was it?
So yeah.
You believe so? You don't know.
Well, it wasn't me.
Well, I know it wasn't you.
Well, it was the British government, yeah.
It was the British.
Money to Nigeria.
No, just a moment, Paul. Are you now telling them that we gave that money to Nigeria?
Invested.
Well, which did we do?
We invested money in Nigeria.
So we didn't give it to them.
Well, we invested it in their industry.
Well, so we didn't give it to them.
No, we didn't give it. We invested it.
Well, I'm trying to establish. You first of all said, why did we invest the money? Then you said, why did we give the money? Then you said, why did we invest the money? Now I need to know which we're talking about.
I didn't invest.
Invest.
Invested money.
Well, we probably invested it to enable that business to get off the ground, to make Nigeria more friendly towards Britain, so that Britain might, in the long term...
There are people dying of hypothermia. We have a National Health Service that is absolutely
Paul,
run down,
Paul,
falling apart.
Paul,
okay?
do you suggest then?
Good God.
Do you suggest then that we abandon everything? We never, as a country, spend money on anything other than preventing hypothermia?
I think we should invest our money in us, primarily, before in other people, right?
Would it be possible, first of all, for us to do so if we were not able to export our products, given that we are a trading, manufacturing nation? If we were not able to export our products abroad, we of course would not have the money to spend on our own people, and so we would be in a situation, perhaps not as harsh immediately, but not dissimilar to some of the trading nations of the world who no longer trade, the nations who are collapsing. So perhaps a minuscule investment, by comparison to
It wasn't minuscule, it was millions of pounds.
Well, how many millions?
Millions.
How many?
Well, that
One?
was insignificant, whether it were 1
Well, it may well.
or 100 million.
Well, I don't.
Money going in another country.
Well, Paul, when I said a minuscule investment, you decided to debate that point. Well, if you're going,
Whether it was 1 penny
Paul,
or £1 million.
Paul, I use the term minuscule. Now, I use the term minuscule advisedly. Now, you've chosen to debate that point. So in order that we can debate the point properly, would you like to throw some statistics about? Give us how much it was. If you don't know, say so and we'll carry on.
I cannot,
you do not
I
know.
have no statistics. It just said millions, okay?
Millions.
Millions.
Well, was it more than 10 million?
I've no idea.
You've no idea? I see. Okay, so millions in terms of the national product is actually a minuscule amount. It's a very tiny proportion.
Indeed, but
now then,
to do with it.
Britain, in your view, no. But in my view, and possibly the government's view, perhaps. Because if you invest a comparatively small amount abroad, and as a result of that small investment, you actually are then able to have good trading relations with the country where you invested your money, you may... Would you like to wait till the sentence ends? Would you like to wait until the sentence ends?
Go on.
Well, would you or wouldn't you? Because if you wouldn't, you can piss off.
Carry on.
Right. Now, if we invest abroad, it may well be that as a result, we are then able to trade on a profitable basis with that country. And that, would you like to wait till the end? This is your last opportunity.
Yes, carry on.
And as a result of that profit, we might then be able to give more money to the needy people in our own country. If we isolate ourselves from the rest of the world and say, I'm sorry, we're just Britain, we only look after our own, we never help anybody else, we will very shortly have no money with which to look after our own and would have to have other countries invest in us. In other words, we'd have to borrow money. Now, if those other countries chose the policy that you advocate, then those countries would say, oh, no.
Does it not concern you that some of these deals we are putting together with other countries actually flop and bring a loss to Britain, and therefore we are losing money which could have gone to the needy, okay?
If you're suggesting, Paul, that we ought to have an infallible government, then I'm happy to agree with you. But no, I didn't say that, did I? What I said was, if you are suggesting that we ought to have an infallible government, then I'm happy to agree with you we ought to have. But I don't think we're ever going to get one, do you?
No, not really.
So we have to come to terms with the fact that what we want is a government that gets it right more often than it gets it wrong. Now, in terms of its international investment, I'm happy to report that consecutive governments for many years have managed to get it right more often than they've got it wrong. Indeed, in recent years, and I mean the last 10, most of the astounding failures in terms of government investment have actually been internal, not external. The name DeLorean springs to mind immediately. British Leyland, for heaven's sake, parts of that may well prove productive.
Internal British investments.
Indeed they are, and to pay for them we've had to get the money from abroad, who we've got to pay back eventually. Perhaps it is impossible for a trading nation not to have money coming in and going out.
I know, you said from abroad. Surely that money we put into British Leyland is actual taxpayers' money.
It is taxpayers' money, but it doesn't all come out of the tax revenue. We have to get the money from all over the place.
Well, I'm sure none of it's come from Nigeria.
Well, you may actually be quite wrong there. You may well be very wrong. I don't know, but it's perfectly possible that it has done. However, even if it hasn't, is that any reason to exclude money from Nigeria in the future? And if a little drop today can produce a floodgate tomorrow, then perhaps it's worth parting with the drop. And maybe you don't understand that process. Maybe you're a prat. I gave you credit for some intelligence. Happy to hear you tell me you've got some and say that you do understand that process.
I do well.
Good. How do, Peter?
You're dead fat.
Yes, Peter. You're going to be bankrupt the way you're going on. Hello, Scott.
Hello, John.
Goodbye, Scott. Ring John wherever you like. My name is Alan. I'll be with you shortly, Bob. Interested in this week's writing competition, allow me to tell you you could win the top 3 albums, top 3 LPs on Saturday for being the first correct answer out of the hat on that particular day. You will also get, if you are the first, a free go at the jackpot prize on It's Your Turn on Sunday. And the jackpot prize for the month of April, which incidentally has just begun, is a weekend in Jersey this spring. So a weekend, probably in late May, in Jersey. So a weekend in Jersey you could win. The top 3 albums you will win if you're the first out the hat with the correct answer to this question. In which television series has the character called Moxie become an Irishman? In which television series has the character called Moxie become an Irishman? If you know the answer, put it on a postcard, a sealed-down envelope, or in a letter, and address it to me. And incidentally, it's the same address if you want a dedication on the first bit of the programme. But the address, Allan Beswick, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301, Preston, PR1 1YE.
Allan Beswick.
How do, Bob?
Hello, Alan. I'd like to... They had a lad on the other night ringing up about the England-Russia football match in Tbilisi. And I'd like to say I agree with him in the way that...
This is about football.
Yes.
Well, we don't converse about football on this programme.
Well, it's not only...
I don't care. It's football. That's it. Full stop. We don't want to know about it. How do, Dave?
I want to talk about rugby league and rugby union for me.
Why?
Because I think it's unfair that the rugby union board have banned rugby league players, rugby union players who've had trials with rugby league clubs.
Well, it may well be unfair, but why should the rugby union be fair to players of a different sport?
No, because...
Why should rugby union be fair to players of a different sport? That's all the question is.
Well, no, because they're saying...
What do you mean, no? You can't answer no to that question. It requires a more substantive answer than no. I'll ask the question again in case you didn't understand it. Why should the rugby union be fair to players of a different sport?
Well, it's not a different sport, is it?
In your view, no, but they have more players on a rugby union team. The laws of the game are different, and that implies to me that it's different, but you may think they're the same. 13 may be the same as 15. Perhaps you can only count up to 8, and so all numbers after 8 become the same. But to me, the number 13 is actually 2 less than the number 15. Is it to you?
But your point...
Is it to you? Are those numbers different?
Yeah, they are different.
They are different, I see. Well, it's extraordinary that you think the two games are the same, given that they have different numbers of players in them.
Your point, please.
You can make your point if it's sensible.
Well, it's because they're saying that the rugby league are professionals, semi-professionals, and...
Just a moment. You were going to make a point about how the two games were the same. You're going to tell me how you saw the two games being the same. You're going to do that, aren't you?
Yes.
Go on, then. Explain to me.
They pass the ball backwards.
Yes.
And this, see you now.
Bye-bye. I rather thought you'd fail. Hello, John.
Hi. I think the government restriction on motorcycles at present for learners is wrong.
In what way?
They put a restriction on them now, so a learner on up to a 125 can drive a bike up to 12 brake horsepower. Or 12.5 at the outside. And it's just a wrong restriction. There's no point to it.
In what way do you say there is no point?
But where's the point in slowing a bike down? Taking extra power off it, just because he's a learner.
Because he's less able to handle the bike than someone who is not a learner, generally.
Not necessarily, because they allow you, if you've got a sidecar on a bike, to go to any CC, there's no limit on it if you've got a sidecar.
But of course you're less likely to fall over with 3 wheels than you are with 2.
I suppose so.
You suppose? You mean there's some doubt about that?
People do come off sidecars.
No, I didn't say people don't come off sidecars. I mean, people do actually fall out of 4-wheeled cars. I'll ask you the question again, just in case you didn't really hear it or understand it. I suggested that it was more difficult to balance on a motorcycle than it was to balance on a motor tricycle. Now, would you like to challenge that statement?
No, yeah.
No, you agree then. You agree, despite the fact that people do fall off motor tricycles. But you do actually agree that 3 wheels are rather more secure than 2.
Yeah.
Extraordinary. You seem to imply that they didn't. However, now that we've come to some basis on which to have the conversation, allow me to say to you that will you therefore also agree that a heavy machine, when at slow speed or indeed stationary, is less able to be controlled and held in the more or less upright position than a light machine?
But a learner's bike...
Will you agree with that or will you not?
Say it again.
No. How do, Finney?
Alan? Alan?
Is that it? You just wish to repeat my name?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing so. Hello, Malcolm.
Alan.
Hello.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm a schizophrenic. So
am I. It's an old one, but it's a good one. We should be with somebody who I think is called Rosie quite soon. No, it's not Rosie, it's Brenda, but we'll have a break first.
Does anybody remember the Grove family?
The what?
The Grove family. Grove.
Yeah, I can spell it, I can't remember it.
I can't remember any of the names. I know they were grandma.
I can't remember the Grove family.
No.
What were they? A television series, I
Yeah,
presume.
recall that, you know.
I see. What night was it on?
Years ago, Alan.
Is it?
I was at school.
Good Lord. No, I don't remember them.
No. Right.
I'm sure some will come on and tell us, Brenda.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Does anybody remember the Grove family? We are required to ask. Who have we got on line 8, Alice? How do, Anthony?
Hello, Alan. I think it's a bit unfair on the horses in the Grand National, and I was wondering what your views were on this.
I suppose it is unfair in that they don't know exactly what's coming up, but they do quite enjoy being ridden, and they do quite enjoy a challenge, a horse, and don't ask me how I know.
Yeah, I know, but you're telling me they really like going across a 2.5 mile course over fences like Beecher's Brook and all this. The size of them's unbelievable. I've seen them, I've been to the race course.
Well, I've been as well. I'm sure lots of people have been. And yes, they are dangerous, but it is a fact that 1 or 2 horses has to be put down each year, but the majority of them do not have to be put down. And when you think about it, human beings go rock climbing and they die doing that, and some die doing potholing.
Yeah.
But people do like a challenge, and I'm prepared to accept that a horse is an intelligent creature and may well enjoy the challenge as much.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that they don't exactly get the choice, and that's what I think is bad about it, do they?
Have you ever actually ridden a horse? Anthony,
yeah, you're going to ride across this
Anthony, have you ever ridden a horse?
Yeah.
And you've always, of course, had total control of that horse?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, you have control of it, yeah?
Total control?
Not at all times, no?
No. Indeed, at any time the horse chooses to be in charge, it is.
Yeah.
You can do nothing to prevent it.
Yeah.
So your suggestion that the horse has no choice is actually utter nonsense. Let it. Well, I'm sorry. Your suggestion, Anthony, is that it has no choice. Now, you're telling me that a jockey sat on the back of a horse can force that horse to go in any direction it wants.
Yeah.
Well, you're wrong, of course.
Look, they don't
You're
have
wrong.
choices to go over the horse.
I'm sorry, they do. They do have a choice.
I'm not a person that's often wrong.
Well, you may well not be a person that is often wrong, Anthony. We have no way of testing that. We've only got this occasion on which to test it.
Yeah.
And on this occasion, you are wrong.
No, I'm not.
So you've already agreed. You have already agreed, Anthony, that when you were on a horse's back, that you were not able to totally control that horse. Indeed, you actually agree. No. Anthony, you did agree that if at any time the horse chose to take control, it could, and you could do naught to prevent it. That is also the case for a racehorse.
Well, that's your opinion, and I don't really...
Well, Anthony, it isn't... Anthony, it isn't actually my opinion, Anthony. When I put that to you as a question, you expressed it as your opinion. Are you now wishing to retract it?
No.
So you still maintain that a horse will not do something if it chooses not to?
Would you rephrase that? Sorry.
No, I won't rephrase it. That's how it is.
No.
Are you suggesting you don't understand it?
No, I'm suggesting that I don't really think you've got your facts right. You haven't got full knowledge of
Anthony,
horse
I've asked you Anthony, I've never assumed that I do. I've relied on your expertise.
Yeah.
I actually put a question to you. I will put it again. When you are on the back of a horse, are you always in total control?
No, not all the time.
Just stop there. Just stop there. No will suffice. I'll put another question now, because we don't want to confuse you. And the next question is, could the horse at any given moment decide to take control?
Yes.
Yes. Now, that's all I say.
But that really...
That is all I will say. Now, you agree with me that the horse can take control at any time. So when the wire goes up and the jockey says, go! If the horse says, stuff it, it'll stand there.
Yeah, but it'll...
Right, so you do agree, Anthony. Just a moment, Anthony. Anthony, you do agree that the horse can actually say, stuff it, I'm not doing that.
When it knows what it's doing.
Well, why do they go round the second time, Anthony? Anthony.
Yeah.
They run round twice.
What?
They run round twice.
Yeah.
Well, why did they do it the second time?
Because they're given no choice, are they?
I'm sorry, you told me a moment ago they've always got a choice.
Yeah, but...
It seems, Anthony, you don't know what you're going on about, which is probably why you've got a high-pitched voice. You're probably just a little baby. Hello, Bob.
Hello, Alan. I'd like to discuss what I believe are archaic licensing laws.
Go on.
I think it's wrong that we're the only country in the common market where, at, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, hot afternoon, you're not allowed to go for a drink in a public place, in a pub. You know, you must do it at home or perhaps in a cafe. I don't see any reason whatsoever for this. Have you anything to offer?
The licensing trade wouldn't be too keen on 24 hours a day available opening. Indeed, they have expressed
that. No, not actually after 24 hours a day, but I'm after an extension in the afternoon. I thought you'd say that, and what I'd say against that is, if they were allowed to, I'm sure that they'd have to in order to compete.
But why should they have that cross made for them to carry?
Well, why not? They're a public service.
They are there as a public...
The shops have to open at... I know they don't open late at night, but they
Indeed, but the public house does, you see.
Pardon?
The public house does open late at night.
The public house does open late at night, yeah.
Why should we have greater licensing laws? Why should the public houses be permitted to open at 3:30, 4:30? Why should they?
Because it's a public service. I mean, on an afternoon, on a hot afternoon, you've played whatever, or you've been out for a walk. It's nice to finish off with a nice drink in a pub. Not necessarily alcoholic, but a nice drink in a pub.
Well, if you don't want an alcoholic one, why don't you go to a coffee bar?
Well, they don't happen to have them where I live.
Oh, I see. So if we opened a coffee bar in your area, you'd be perfectly happy to have this pub stay shut?
That's my case. I believe that we should have better licenses. They've got them on the continent. There's no complaints there.
Well, allow me to tell you that one of the countries you quoted was France.
No, I didn't actually quote any country.
I'm sorry, I thought you did. Never mind.
No.
In one country where the licensing laws are very lax, and indeed where alcohol is part and parcel of daily life, is France. And they have, believe it or not, an absolutely astronomical drink problem in France.
I'm afraid I must dispute that, Alan. You're wrong.
You can dispute it till you're blue. I'm sorry, Bob.
In France, you're just pulling figures.
Bob, I am not pulling figures.
You're wrong.
I will bring you tomorrow the title of the book from which that research
it's wrong.
is
I've
culled.
lived in France for 2 years.
I don't care how long you live there.
The alcoholic problem is far less.
The alcoholic problem, Bob, is not the...
Sorry, I must...
Bob,
confess there.
Well, you confess all you like. I am not talking about the alcoholic problem. I'm talking about the drink problem.
Yes.
There is a very, very subtle difference.